People talk a lot about finding mentors as the key to unlock success in your career. The idea that you can find the right mentors, and you hear people all the time credit their great mentors. And I've been ridiculously fortunate with the mentors I've had. Like, my list of mentors is absurd. But I think what's interesting is what people don't focus very much on is themselves as a great mentee, and that's something we teach in the internship.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's an interesting thing to explore today.
Definitely.
I think I stumbled into being a good mentee. I don't think it was a strategic thing. It just happened that my personality fits with the things that make a good mentee.
Make you mentorable.
Yeah.
Because I suppose the first place to say is what is it? Why is that important? Why is being a good mentee important? I think to be a good mentee, it makes it easy for a mentor to go, well, I just want to give them everything. I just want to help them as much as possible because he's such a nice, affable, whatever it is kind of guy or person, and it encourages help.
Yeah, and I think number one, if you have a level of hunger, and then a level of
curiosity goes with hunger too. I think.
Yeah. So when I think hunger, I'm thinking hunger for knowledge, hunger for being better, and you're right. Curiosity is really important. If you have a level of hunger, and then it has to be balanced with a level of humbleness. If you have those two things, then I think that's, you're most of the way there, because someone will. It's very. I mean, I've had instances where I've had people who want to come in and intern, and they talk about how they're going to come in and deliver stuff on top of what we do here at Core Advantage to help out with non-movements.
You mean like I did in my internship interview 3.5 years ago now? Yeah, so you stumbled into being a good mentee. I was hit in the face by realising I wasn't a very good one. During my uni degree and I did a personal training course before that, I was quite confident, and I thought I was well read, and I thought I was going to be awesome at this, like strength and conditioning. This is my thing. I'm going to kill it. So I showed up at my interview here and proceeded to do what you just said. Told you and Rob at the time that this is what I would add to your program. This is how you guys are doing it wrong, and that you should listen to me, the 21-year-old kid who's still in uni. And it wasn't until you gave me that great, you're my mentor for the majority, but it wasn't until you gave me that feedback about how terrible I was at being a mentee that it was like, oh, yeah, okay, now I see that, and see that from the other side of the other point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a very interesting interview. But it was interesting because interviews are poor predictors of success. Everyone knows that. But yours, the one thing that was very keen was that you did have passion and hunger. You were literally sweating bullets.
Oh, it was 1,000 degrees, and in the old opposite bodywork, it was like the size of this desk.
And you were line ball. Like Rob and I went outside and it might be a bit hard to reach. And that was our thing. That was the question mark. Was did you have not enough humbleness that you would be hard to reach? And in the end, based on, and this is a really important thing, based on a personal recommendation from someone I knew and trusted very well, we rolled the dice on you. And so, although your individual performance in that interview wasn't very good, your
D- something.
But your performance as a human in that sports team that had made that person recommend you got you over the line. So I think the mentee thing is it's a holistic thing. It's you as a human, and so there's humbleness, there's being just a nice person, all those things that you did without any agenda as a person playing when you're back at nobody. Yeah, all those things ended up being a major driver for your career success. Although you didn't intend that, it's just that they put you in the right place.
Right place, right time, knowing the right people, yeah.
And so for me, and my story's hilarious. I went and trained at Bodywork under my most influential mentor, Bruce Gray, who was just a legend. It's his birthday today. How is that?
Happy birthday, Bruce.
Happy birthday, Bruce. And
which will actually be yesterday by the time this goes up. So happy birthday for yesterday, Bruce.
Yes, yeah. And Bruce was just so supportive and so helpful, and just taught me everything he could, and was so patient with me, and in the end it ended up being a 17-year mentorship, really. Yeah. But the first 6 months, the important thing was that I was humble. I knew that I knew nothing, and I was very and he knew that I knew that he knew everything and I knew nothing. And
the hierarchy was set for him to be a mentor and for you to just absorb information.
And they were just Bruce would give you the shirt off his back anyway. But I think that's just who he is. He's the most generous human I think I've ever met. But the point was that he was very comfortable telling me all this stuff and giving you the keys to the kingdom, like teaching you all the really important things you should know. And then he was good to let me make my mistakes as well, and I didn't mind giving me responsibility really early, and it was amazing. It was best. So that 6 months shaped my entire career. But it was that I offered my help for free. I asked, can I follow you around and learn? And that was amazing. But those mentee qualities, so humbleness, hunger, and I think that sense that it's not like I'm not going to waste my time mentoring a lovely, hungry person that also doesn't close the loop, that doesn't use the knowledge.
Closing loop's one of my pet peeves with the world.
Yeah, you're an Olympic level loop closer.
I love closing a loop.
Talk about what closing the loop is, because I'm so bad at closing the loop. I didn't even know about it till like a year ago.
Closing loop.
I knew about it. But
it's ultimately the way I sort of see it. It's kind of long-term, bigger project finishing off stories. So, for example, if I help someone, if I write them a program, or if I steer them in the right direction or something, I'm doing that because I want them to, I want to be helpful, I want to give back, but I also want them to succeed. So therefore, I want to hear about it when they do or don't.
Yeah.
So I want to, the big thing with me is people contact me for a program, help with their lower back. So they're like, I can't write your program, so I need to coach it, I need to be able to see you in person, but here's a really great starting point. They don't finish up and tell you how it's going. And so it's like, get back to me. I genuinely mean I want you to get back to me and tell me how that went. Yeah,
and that's the same with people go for jobs that I have me as being a referee. Like I want to know how that went.
Yeah, if I'm on the resume, I want to. Did you get if I got the call or not? I want to know. Did you get it?
Yeah,
congratulations.
Yeah. But that closing loop thing of that knowing that the 10 minutes I'm spending helping someone is going to be they're going to actually take that and run with it. It's not just time, because time is the biggest thing we're so poor for. Like I've got a phone call I've got to make back to someone today who's asked me about their master's course. I've got another 3 phone calls with clients. I've got 2 physio calls, and I've got a number of other sports coach calls that I've got to make. Like a very finite amount of time.
Before 4 o'clock when we start coaching.
Yeah. So knowing that 8 minutes that I spend, which sounds really ridiculous and petty,
but it's not.
It's knowing that that's well spent. I think that's everything. So that idea of the person that you help is going to take it and run with it. So you're not just spinning your wheels.
And then hearing back that they were successful, they weren't for whatever reason, you can continue the mentor-mentee relationship.
And I think the thing is that there isn't an immediate payoff. So in 99, I did my apprenticeship with Bruce. I followed him around back with the Victoria Titans then, and got to meet a whole bunch of people that I'm now So in 99, I got to meet Guy Malloy, who was an assistant coach at the Titans, who's now my head coach at the Melbourne Boomers. And so I got to know him when I had a full head of hair and no idea what I was doing. But then there were all these other connections that you make. There appeared to be no payoff. So in 99 I did that, and then nothing really happened. Nothing came of that till 2003. So it was a 4-year period where I was just working on my craft and coaching and
doing stuff. Yeah.
But nothing really happened in that space. And then all of a sudden my good friend JD had to leave and go to a different basketball team, and there was an opportunity at the Dandenong Rangers, and he'd seen how I was with Bruce. He'd known me for 4 years and known that I was humble and that I just wanted to learn and do stuff. And then he teed that up for me. Whereas if I'd been all brash and I know everything, he probably wouldn't have, because JD went out of his way to help me. And so that's another sliding doors moment where that mentee quality of humbleness really paid off. And then that just kind of, you take that moment, a couple more other moments, and yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. Because I think if I look at the three biggest, 3 or 4, I'm not going to give it the number. So the things. So the things. My friend Jack Dix was an amazing mentor as a physio, so he helped teach me heaps. I got to work with a lot of other brilliant physios down the line, and that was incredible. Then it was Bruce, who was ridiculously helpful, and that led to JD helping me get the gig with the Rangers. And then I was working under Gary Fox, which was amazing. And then the president, my friend, now passed away, Charles Ryan, the president of Dandenong, started sending me all these juniors after we had a lot of success with the senior team, because we went back to back in my first 2 years, and we had a lot of success there. And he started sending me all these juniors, and that's how we've ended up
making a company.
yeah. But at every junction, had it not been, I think the hunger was a prerequisite, but had it not been for the humbleness and just that willingness to always want to learn and knowing your place when you're young too.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty amazing. With your lesson learned, I think you're a good person to talk about this because this wasn't intuitive to you.
No, it wasn't.
But when you stuck your teeth into the idea of, all right, I'm going to be a good mentee, you developed an amazing gotcha face, which is where you listen, absorb, like your face literally tells me you've listened, you've absorbed, and you're going to implement.
Yep.
So your gotcha face was world class. What else, when you would come to, so those first 6 months when you were still just an intern, what was your mentality coming into every shift?
Well, my mentality into the interview was, I'm going to show these guys a thing or two. I'm going to teach them how it's done from day one. And then, so I suppose I was coming in at year 5, not day 1. And so I realised that very quickly, went all the way back to the first square and was just like...
What made you realise that? Like, what was
the feedback on the phone when you gave me the phone call afterwards? Because I came in for the interview and I was kind of with Oakley charged at the time as well. And then you gave me the call back and said I was in, and I was super excited because talking to you guys, the internship sounded phenomenal, and it was. But after that feedback on the phone where you directly told me you were a little this, you were a little this was good, this was bad, that was like, okay, I nearly missed this sort of opportunity here. So it was just a matter of knowing, like you said before, knowing your place. And so for me, it was all just about, you're the schmuck, you don't know a thing, and just be a rookie. Just let yourself be a rookie again, sort of thing, instead of trying to go, oh, this is what I've been told here.
Yeah.
And then you and Rob were just so smart and had your philosophy is just so strong, and it just makes so much sense. It's so logical. It was just like, it was hard not to just go. Wow.
And so that first week or 2 weeks, there was a point where you just went,
on the, like literally after the phone call, like my being a jerk, the douche, whatever you like, nearly cost me this spot with this, what is now an incredible organisation. At the time it was pretty small, but what became an incredible organisation and a huge part of my life. But it was that phone call that was like, I'm a little bit of a arrogant asshole, and I need to work. And I realised instantly, like, that's not who I want to be. That's not going to get me anywhere except running my own tiny little business. So I needed to work on that immediately. Develop that more hunger and realised I wasn't done for information. I needed more.
Yeah.
So
here we are. And so what do you see? So we should wrap up soon because we don't want to turn this into a 20-minute round of thoughts. So now in your role where you're
mentoring more so
mentoring the interns coming through, and also we mentor athletes as well. What do you see? What's the biggest deficit you see coming through that people need to be? Is it the hunger thing, or does it just break down even? Like, do you think?
I think it's a bit of everything. I think it's awareness. I think it's self-awareness of where they sit. Yeah. And so it's people need to realise. I think it's hunger for knowledge. I think people aren't curious enough. Actually, now that I think about it, I think that's the lead on. If you're just curious about how things work and how the world is.
If you're curious about the world and you're curious about yourself.
Yeah.
Then you will reflect on when you're maybe not nailing how you should be acting in a certain way. Like, the curiosity is the lead domino.
And the curiosity will make you better at taking
as long as it's paired with a growth mindset. If you're curious, then just go, I appear to be, and then not doing anything.
I don't know that. Moving on.